Yeah, days like this, baby.
Everything back. You got everything back from the casino.
Remember who you're trading against.
Oh man, I love it. So good morning, guys. Guys, we were at today's Q&A. So remember that if you have any question, please feel free to push them in here. We're gonna be trying to answer them all as much as we can, or pointing you out at where you can be answered. Right? Remember, take advantage of these classes because you're already paying for them. So, and we're more than happy to give you the assistance that you need. We don't do one-on-ones, but this is your chance to have the closest that we can get to a one-on-one so far. We might be reopening one-on-ones in a little bit more, but that depends on timings. We're trying to work something out. In the meantime, Alex, would you like to start with, or would you like me to go within the bearish news?
Well, I'll show them the goods if they want to see the goods first. We'll give them the good news and the bearish news.
Absolutely.
We're currently hitting our pink box. Yeah, so this is the trade from this morning. What's crazy is I got stopped out for $200 loss right here. What's even crazier is that I re-entered here. I took profit here. Then I added here. I took profit here. Then I added here. I took profit here. Then I added here. And I took profit here. And now we're into a big sell wall. So we're up into heavy resistance. I'm 90% out of this trade. Stop loss is here ish. 105,850. We'll see what happens, man. And guess what? We did it live. That's the best part, is that we did it live, man. Yeah, so this morning we had Jolt's job openings, right? So let's go on the 3-minute here. We typically start around 8 a.m. Let's look at VWAP. So what do we have down here? Before we even started, we had a liquidity zone in here at this low here. We had a golden pocket 786. Okay, so you guys know me. I'm always looking here, right? So we have our golden pocket 786 box in here. Okay, so I don't know if I still have it on here. Yes, I do. Okay, so we're looking here. Let me hide this trade. It's getting loud in here. Okay, so we're looking here. I rushed this morning, right? So I rushed this morning, and I got long right here. It's hard to see on the 3-minute. Let's go to the 1-minute. So I got long. So we sweep down into our box. We reclaim the range. I longed here. Okay. My stop loss was tight to this low. Okay. We came back down. I got stopped out. Within that split second of getting stopped out, it stayed here and it held. It started to push back. I pressed buy again. Okay. I re entered the trade here. Same kind of deal. Took this puppy up into here. And like before this, right? We know news is coming at 10, so here's 10. Before this, I mean, this is like watching paint dry. Okay, this is like trading on the 4-hour time frame. Oh man, very slow. Then boom, we get a sweep down. I should have, waited. So $200 loss right there. Bang. But that's why practice good risk management. At the end of the day, this could have ran through. Okay, very, very possible. Very possible. I mean, you wouldn't want to protect yourself below this low. Generally, if you're a swing trader, you might take this kind of trade setup. And it would have worked today, right? But for me, I'm trying to be cheap, right? I want to be as tight as possible. However, when I took the second trade here, my God, came back down. So we were able to not only recover our losses, but make a lot of money today. And this doesn't happen all the time. So you have your orb. We've taught you guys how to set up your orb here, open range breakout. Okay, so we get the news data that comes out here, and it chops, and it comes right back down into here, which is a higher low continuation trade. I added a lot here, bro. Like this was $100,000 trade. I added like 300 here because I'd already taken profit. So this was like, it's basically at my entry. So I was like, okay, new trade, basically stop loss below the low here, right? And my target still remained the same. My target, there was a fair value gap, golden pocket in here. Okay, that was my target. And VWAP and orb. So I added. What really helped me today is if we go over to the SPY. The SPY opened up bullishly and it held bullishly. You can see where my green line is. That's where the SPY opened up. And it continued to push, okay? Also, the NASDAQ did the very same thing, okay? It continued to push. So the stock market's been doing really good at market open. It did this yesterday as well. So pay attention to that. It's something I use for confluence when trading, right? So if we look at here, the stock market on market open, it just kept ripping, right? Yesterday, right here, it kept ripping, right? It pumped and dumped and then continued to rip, right? So very bullish on open here. Okay. Going back to Bitcoin here. So push, take profit. Now I've talked to you guys about an orb breakout retest. So that's where not only did I take profit, but I added to the trade there. Okay. And then we pushed up here and we had a retest of the previous high here. I added and took profit here. Now we're stalling out a little bit. We got a big sell wall up in here. That's our pink box. That's our big old Fibonacci order block level that we had marked out from our top-down analysis. So a spectacular trade, to say the least. And it's hard, like, to add to winners. It's important to add to your winning trades, okay? If you see it going, and this is going, guys, like this is as going as it gets, right? Being able to add is very important. So I take profit here. I'm up like $600 or whatever, right? And then I add. Now the key to me adding is whatever position size you're using. So for me, I took off like I had $100,000 left on the trade. My entry's here. So the way I like to look at it is if I add another $100,000, my entry will be here. I split it. Okay? So I'm still protected. So I added to the trade. My entry moves up to here. My stop loss still here. Okay? It pushes up again. I take profit. Right? So that I added 200. So I had a $200,000 position. I take half of it again. Right? So I'm back down to a $100,000 position. I add another 100 here, right? My position right here. Stop loss at entry. Okay? I'm protected. Okay, so I can trail this thing by adding to the trade and taking profits along the way, guaranteeing myself moolah, because we like the moolah, but also being able to make more moolah from mini trades within the big trade. But it's doing it correctly, which is really going to separate you from, you don't want to add to it, but let's say you have a $100,000 position right here, and then you add, and your entry's down here, and then you add 300,000 to the trade. Your entry is going to be right here. Right? If this thing goes against you, you're wrecked. You've lost your money. Okay? So it's important to add, but also add so that you're still safe. Add that you're still safe. Okay? And you want to add on retraces. You can see what I did here is when I added on the breakout retest. Okay? The retest. Okay? I'm not adding at the highs. I added on the breakout retest. Take profit, add. Okay? Because that's going to lower my average as well when I look to add. Very important. Okay, that's what happened there. Now, where are we at now? Well, we're flagging out bullishly. Can we break and go, right? So looking at the zoomed out, what do we have here, right? Let's get rid of all of this jargon in here. Well, what can we see? Big order block. Retest of previous lows. Big Fibonacci level. Okay, Fibonacci right here. We have a nice, I think it's a one hour order block. We're at a retracement zone, okay? So that the thing is, this is a beautiful push. I'm not saying I'm not bullish. I don't like this low, okay? We are retesting the lows here. We are retesting this area in here. I would like to see that. That would be great. But remember what I talked to you guys about yesterday. We're looking for ABC in here. So what are we looking for? ABC, right? We all know our alphabet, right? So the thing is where is, how high do we get for B? Do we come up in here? Very possible, right? If we look at this range in here, you can see we could maybe we come up to the point of control here at 109. That's possible, right? And then finding C, it's like finding Nemo. It's the fun part, right? So C, right? This wave in here. I'm not no Elliott wave theorist. Okay, let's keep that between you and I. But I'm aware of market structure. This is our low. What we can get is we can get a higher low. We can get a liquidity sweep low, or we can get a lower low. We talked about this yesterday. There's 3 options that we can get here in our ABC correction. Okay. We have our A. We are putting in our B right now, depending on how high. A B could be right here. Okay, we have a sell wall right here. But we can't tell until we get the structure and the confirmation where our C leg's going to be. So if we're going to bounce, this is a great trade. And we went over this yesterday, but I'll reiterate it again. This is the money maker, typically. Okay? Why is it the money maker? Because it's the correction of the big, huge impulse move to the upside, right? So if we're zoomed out and we look at this thing here, right? This is where we get the Valhalla trade, right? This is where we get the ABC at the top, and then we take, this is this, right? So if we're coming down here, this is our ABC, right? That's the Valhalla trade, right? So if we're looking at that at a high, right? So if we're pushing up into a high here, this is something that we're looking for like this. So if we're looking at any of this here, this is one of them here, right? So this would be the C here. This would be the C here, right? This would be the C here, right? ABC, ABC, right? So this is the one that leads to the big move, right? The one that leads to the big move. Okay? That's what we want to find, right? Even if it's at over an extended move, that's what leads to the big move. And that's typically what we want to get into, right? That's the trade that we want to get into. So can this go higher? Yes. Where is it going to retrace to? Well, we're hitting that resistance right now. And go. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm in the long right now. I'm mostly out. We'll see if it does want to continue, but, great trade today and took it on the live. So very happy. What are you looking at, OC? Are you going to be bearish?
Well,
look at him. He's laughing. He's laughing. He is going to be bearish.
A little bit, man. A little bit. I'm looking to the micro market. So we've been talking about loosening the trend line. I don't know if you were here when I was explaining that, loosening that Bitcoin has lost its trend line, right? So technically it has broken the trend. So the trend is not bullish anymore, right? That doesn't mean that we cannot go up.
The trend doesn't matter. I'm your friend. The
Trend doesn't matter?
Friend.
Trend doesn't matter. So let me go over that really quickly. But also, I know this is a little bit kind of like what do I have so many things in here? All right, not liking the new Discord stuff.
Just got signed out of my exchange.
What is it?
We're good. We're good. Sorry.
All right, so the point is in here, let me go in closer. Let me go, yep, this looks about right. Let's go to Bitcoin here. I think this is going to be it. And let me refresh what we've been talking about for the last couple of classes, right? And remember, based on this is what I'm basing. I based not only my entry, but also based our next movement. So here's what we got. We have a trend line. Goes all the way down here, support, 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 trend line broken, right? Usually, or most of the cases, in fact, every single time, all right, the trend line defines the trend. So the trend is over when the trend line is broken. Technically, the trend line is broken. Remember that also exists things that are called fake outs. I don't think that this is a fake out. What I believe is this could be a flat pause of bullish continuation. What is a flat pause of bullish continuation? Exactly this, right? So if we go to lower time frames, like the 15 minutes, we're going to be seeing this moving up, 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 and then breaking the trend line, making a range, and then going up, 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 breaking the trend line, making the range, right? And going up, 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 breaking the trend line, making a range, right? Can we see this in the past, or is it just me smoking weed? Don't believe that. I don't smoke weed too often. All right. The point is in here that we can go for the very bottom of the movement, all right, and the very top of the movement. Usually we look for this retracement at 50%, and I've learned from Alexa Crypto that usually plays out of 1/3 movement, right? What is the 1/3 movement? Right in here. Do we nail it? Yes. So what we did in the previous classes, well, we took this trade right here, and the trade was very successful. In fact, I'm back into that trend and into that trade. We'll see that not only in the recording, but I'll show you how that goes, right? So we're expecting to have, or we do have another trend line like this. Let me make that a little bit better, right? There we go. We can see it. So as long as I don't fail to break, or as long as I don't break this trend line, I'm going lower. All right, it's not about the breakout. Then we make a lower high. It's about you retest, right? And then off we go, but we don't make a higher high. This patterning here defines a range. All right, this is part of Wyckoff. If I invert this, let's go inversion. Is you're coming down, little range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than the previous range, and that gives us what? 70% chances of ranging. The next low is not lower than our V-shaped recovery, right? We know this because I've been drilling your head with this, with Wyckoff as well. With it's not about the breakout, it's about the retests, right? It's a good thing that I invented the retest, right, Alex? If not, you wouldn't been able to jump in, because in the past, the price did not retest it. It just went up until I invented it. That's a bad joke, by the way. Very bad joke. Love Wyckoff. I also love Wyckoff one way. So the point is that we see coming down, little range, V-shaped recovery, right? And then the next high, not higher than the previous range, can be equal. Usually not the same. If we start seeing it higher, well, then that's when we start getting worried. Usually that gives us 70% chances of ranging, right? Remember what we did in there. We made a low, or in that case, a high that is not higher than or lower than our V-shaped recovery. And that usually defines, and this is what we're expecting right now, defining the range movement. Are we there yet? In this case, we were. Because, I mean, come on, we already have seen it all, right? Let me invert it back as we see it, all right? The next thing that happens is that we're going to be looking for a triangular pattern. And we did this back in the day when everybody was saying, yeah, there's a triangle we're going to break. This triangle was, no, this is Wyckoff, this is Wyckoff, this is Wyckoff, right? The point is, nonetheless, we do find a triangle. Why is that? Because it's not that we believe that the triangle is going to play out as a triangle, because this could be a bullish pennant. But no, what we're after for this, it is a confirmation that it is a range or it is an actual pennant, right? We don't know yet. We prepare for it, right? How do we prepare? We start drawing our trend lines, right, to create that triangle as the price action starts giving us those hints. And then what we do, we wait for confirmation. If it breaks up, perfect. We do a higher high. We know, or most likely, that we're going to come back, and then off we go, break a retest, right? Oh, thank you for that, my friend. And then if we break down and look at here, if we go to the 4 hours, it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and off we go. Or if we stay in the 1 day, it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and off we go. But whoops, what happened? Where are we hitting 50% retracement? And now we have the full lower range, if that makes sense. All right. So it's not that I am bearish, all right? But the trend has already been broken. We are not bullish. Well, we are not in a bullish trend anymore. Am I bullish? Yes, I'm bullish. So how does that work? Because a correction, when the trend line is broken, the trend is broken. What we need to finalize the thing, we need a correction. Correction over time or correction over price, right? Any of those two. I wish, I expect, I want to have a correction over time, just like we had in here. Even if it takes months like this, like forever pain, right? So basically, what are we expecting? And you will see already a couple of other stuff in here that I'm going to be explaining in a second. But basically, look at my 1/3. Nailed it. We entered right at the very, very bottom in here, right? And in fact, let's go to this one. Oh, no, that one, this one here. Let's save this first. Let's go here very quickly. I promise I'm not going to take too long. This is it, right? It's not about, oh, this is gold, sorry. It's not about the breakout, but it just looks exactly as Bitcoin of what I was looking at. All right, it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. This is where we took our entry. In fact, not in here, we took our entry somewhere around here. You can visit that in YouTube, just so you guys know. And then in here, yeah, you go to playlist or your playlist, and then you go to, what is it? Come on, Trade Academy. And the Trade Academy, you go to the previous class, chapter 17. This is the first trade that we took. All right, it was somewhere around here. Perfect. That's it. That is it. And what happened the next day? We actually adjust this slightly. This is how it, come on, this is how it ended up. Perfect. That was our possible entry. What happened the next day? This is yesterday.
That's some good music, bro. I could really
Gonna be acting.
Maybe we could do some salsa to it.
Oh, absolutely. That's some funk. I love funk, man. So what happened? Breakout retest, off we go. And right here, well, then I lost my entry. Why? Well, I entered right here, took it out. I actually took out my trade completely, and I lost my re-entry right down here. What was I expecting? What was I telling you guys in here? That we need, there it is. Oh, come on, don't get that. I need, you gotta be kidding me. One second. I think I got it in here. 1 second. That's me calculating the retracement and also the trailing. And I want, there it is. What am I looking for? Breakout retest, right? What happened at that point? Breakout retest. Here we got it, right? Our entry goes. Also, we have lip of the river right down here, the one that I lost, right? We have a little hump, perfect continuation, breakout retest. Off we go. Where? To the next area of interest in here. Not only that, right? Let's go back to where we left out. Right here, second, here it is. All right, this is the daily, just so you know. The other one was the 4 hour. Remember, I tried the 4 hour, I analyzed on the daily. We also have a first guess of a trend line. This is guessing. Why? because I don't have any other pivot, just 1, 2, and 3, but they're not pivots, they're just candles, right? So far I want to see if that pivot holds, or right here, this one plays out. Why do I have that one there? Because that's where it goes through the bottom of this rejection zone, because it also goes through based on the time that I expect this plays out, right? To the, where? To the resistance, the POC. So as you can see, that's what I'm pointing out, this possible trend line. This is how I predict trend lines, all right? Looking at where the resistance, looking at how the movement plays out. For example, it takes from here to take that movement. So I just grab it, push it here, try to see where is it going, my resistance. There it is, right? And I take the peak, and then I pass through my resistance right there when I move. You see how am I predicting the movements? Basically, you can do the same thing here. We are under resistance. Should we be scared? Not quite there yet, because we already have, remember, if we invert this just like we did before, let's invert it. Invert scale. We're coming down, little range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than the previous range. Perfect, that played out fantastic. And then low, we already have this.
Alert.
Oh, yeah, I do. Alert. XRP, by the way.
Oh,
let's
man.
take a look.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're not here to degen.
All right. So we'll take that a little bit. Wait, he looks away. So I am expecting actually one of two things. One would be to find the new high in here, what happened before, or holding this high and going for this other zone, which could be either here or here, right? Whatever happens. For me, the best case scenario will be reversing back in here. That would be the best case scenario, because and then bouncing back up, because it's going to be making, look at that, breakout, higher low, right? And then higher, not higher, at least same thing, bouncing and then creating a lower high. Basically, remember what I circled before, what defines a range. Let's reinvert it, just so you guys remember, and that's what I believe you guys will be remembering that. Perfect. This is what happened. Coming down, we defined this, right? Not a lower low, not a higher, slightly higher high. This right here defines the range. And then finally, the next ranging zone, all right? So I'm expecting to happen something like that. So what am I going to be trading? I mean, I know. What am I going to be trading? First of all, before I show you my entries, I also need to locate something here. You see how this is moving? And remember what we talked about when we mentioned morphology of a pattern, right? We have a range up, or we have a trend. What would be the morphology of the range? Well, either Wyckoff's, you can turn, into a trend, could be turning into a range, or you can be turning into a triangle, right? What are the topping signals from maybe a triangle or a trend breakout? One of those topping signals are sweep of the lows or the highs. In this case, we did not have those, all right? Swing failure pattern, we did not have those. Double top, so far we don't have it, all right? And what else? Head and shoulders, right? We usually see a ton of head and shoulders before breaking out. Remember, Alex, the last cycle, or like right here, where you start calling out, hey, we broke the trend line, head and shoulders, we're going down. We broke the trend line, head and shoulders, we're going down. We broke the trend line. Come on, bro. You were just nailing it with those, right? So that was fantastic, right? That was fantastic. But also, we need to keep in track what Alex did and what I do and what you guys need to look for, all right? Again, it's not that you need to do the same thing. It's just how we trade. We're just showing you. You can do whatever you like, all right? So let's go here. I already have it prepared for you. Not in here, right there. Come on. There it is. How do I predict, technically speaking, geometrical speaking, based on an actual, and I need to hate on the Fibonacci tool because it's not actual Fibonacci, but into an actual Fibonacci rectangle, you have a median, right? What is a median? An actual Fibonacci, just because I love Fibonacci, you have a 1 by 1 by 1, right? And what you do, you duplicate so another 1 by 1, right? So that makes you 2 by 2 by 2. And then what you do, you duplicate. So then you have a 4 by 4 by 4, right? So that gives you the thing. Oh, come on. The thing that goes like that, right? The little curve. Nonetheless, whatever that happens, when you look at geometry, you see that in order to make your unity or your same unit to divide it in 4, you usually look for a median, right? So that is just the the center line. Don't break your head, just the center line. So we can define the top in here because it goes like from here to here, and we kind of like already see a trend line. Oops, let me change it back. This trend line can also be interpreted, and I'm seeing it. So also I want to acknowledge that I do see it. I can interpret it like that, all right? But I'm not going to because I also have two indecision candles in here. Just a nerdy stuff, but whatever you like. The point is that whenever you do your megaphone, your trend line, or whatever, you calculate a center line, right? In this case, the center line will be a little bit higher. But as you can see, it's not that higher that it doesn't make sense. It's higher that it actually keeps making sense. The point is that you're going to be finding that center. Why? Because sometimes when we have a head and shoulders, and we have a hidden head and shoulders in here, shoulder, head, and lower shoulder with a cricket neckline, all right? With a cricket neckline, usually pointing that line to the point of breakout, usually it is much intense, right? Much violent. So in this case, when the trend and neckline, it is going the other way around, it's less intense, but also means that we could be losing strength on that shoulder, right? So we're going to be aiming for this as our highest point for the shoulder, and we're going to be aiming here for the lowest part of the shoulder. Guess what other thing is acting as a resistance in here? My trend line. The trend line that we've been following for in the 4 hours right here. This is a 4-hour trend line, despite we're in daily. What other trend line that we have in here? The trend line that we drew, well, right here on the daily, based on our candles and also on our support and resistance. So both of those methodologies tells me that there is a resistance in there. All right. If there is a resistance in there, I can have a head and shoulders. Is it for sure? No, of course it is not for sure. But if I have the chance to look for it, of course I'm going to be trading it because it's just like a cheat code. If I know what is going to be bouncing, I'm going to be taking the advantage. That's why I'm slightly bearish at this point. But overall, I believe that we're going to be making, again, a triangular pattern, as we already know, that we're going to be maybe defining to the 50% as we range through our next step for the next quarter. I believe that we're going to be ranging. Alex, I want to give the introduction to something that you mentioned that pair up with something that I also mentioned. A couple of days ago or weeks ago, we were looking at here the daily, right? We were looking at these candlesticks, right? That they are matching 1-to-1, but they happen earlier. And you mentioned that you have a prediction how early things are happening and also a prediction on a quarter reaction. Can you maybe bring that up?
Yeah, so like how the cycle is delayed by 2 months and how we could be topping in late July. Is that what you want me to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not what you wanted to say, but the comment that you said, right? But if was that it, or I told you what to do? I don't know. Or tell you what to say? Of course not, right?
Well, we could be pushing into, like a late July rally, which then would lead to a retracement coming into August, right? August, September is typically, August is a low, so it's like everybody's on vacation. Everybody doesn't really trade or invest or yada, yada, yada. They're at the cottage or whatever, right? And then you have September, which is typically the bearish month, and then a push into quarter 4.
Absolutely.
Which is the Christmas rally, right?
Exactly. So I do believe that we're going to be having a little bit of time shifting again, right? I do agree a lot with that. For me, things are happening faster. That doesn't mean that they're not prolonging. which means like if we have a breakout now or we have a range, we can have a range forever, like we did back in here, a forever range, right? Or a forever range like we did in here. But I believe that this is what is going to happen in this case. We're going to have a range upwards. So we can have a breakout, then a deep correction, which is going to be making maybe for this cycle a triple top. Not a double top in here, but a triple top. Maybe adding one more spike. Why? Because at the end of it all, if we just zoom out even farther, let's zoom out here in this one, even farther. Oh, come on. Don't do that to me. All right. We have pushed through. And if you look at this, yes, it went down, but this looks like a flat pause of bullish continuation. A flat pause with a little bit of regression with a bullish continuation. This is just a sweep of the lows, sweep of the lows, sweep of the lows, right? Flat pause, sweep of the lows, of bullish continuation, sweep of the lows, right? So if you see, the more market cap that we have, the greater, the bigger the range we start forming, right? So I believe this is what we're doing, especially if we take a look at a couple of news in here where we start seeing, let me show you, that the Bitcoin ETF, it only have 1.4 years old, and it's already the 23 most traded one. So could it go faster? Well, then again, this is what happened with gold, and we've been talking about gold in here for a long time. And this is where we created, or where it was created, ETF, right? So what happened from 1 billion to maybe 13 billion that was on gold? Just I don't think that we're gonna see that volatility, because we need to lose trust on something to make the money rotate to that. I don't think that we're gonna go brrr on the machines. So there's not going to be new money to be pushing here. And I believe we need a crash on some assets to then be reallocating it on both gold and Bitcoin, and then have a balance between Bitcoin and gold. That is my prediction. You can hold me accountable to this in the future, but this is what I do see coming. It's not for sure. I'm not coming for the future, but that's what I see. Looks good to me. All right. So, all right, too much talk. Let's just get into the trading stuff. All right. So at this point, Bitcoin, 4 hours. Here we go. Let me double click. I believe that we could be forming a head and shoulders. We could be shorting somewhere around 108. And then at that point, if and when I need to look at my oscillator, when I see, come on, not that oscillator, this one here. When I see, and I already have a couple of reversals, a reversal here, when I see that I'm starting to make maybe a bearish divergence, right? When I start pushing through here, that's when I start looking for a short. My gap of shorting this, remember, it is between 107 and 110. So that's what I'm slightly bearish, but I believe this is for the good. I believe that we're going to be making, first of all, a pennant, a bullish pennant, and then a range that might be pushing us to the next quarter for a little bit of a retracement, and then a final fourth quarter or December pump, right? So that's what I see right now on the markets. What do you think about this, Alex? Is it too crazy maybe? Does it sounds possible? Does it not sounds possible? You think only up for now?
I think I'm trying not to be too bullish, but I feel I'm bullish, man. Like after the conference and stuff, and like the institutional adoption, the thing is right now there is a buy. Okay, so there's like a treasury retirement buy that's happening consistently now. So every week these retirement funds are now buying Bitcoin, just steady. And that's just a constant thing that's going on right now. They're just accumulating, right? The supply is at its lowest. The debt is fucked. And they can't service it. So what do? They're just going to print until They can't print no more. They're printing right now. It's just, they got a service. I shared with you guys. Was it here? Let me pull it up here. I shared with you guys here, and I'll share it with you guys in the chat as well. But there is here it is in the chat. Here, you guys can take a look at this. Brian Young posted this, but it's a key U.S. event risk, right? So you got the tariffs coming up, right? 90-day pause deadline, right? We just had our CPI. We have our CPI coming up on June 11th, right? But the big one, in my opinion, is the X date for the U.S. In August, September. You have that debt ceiling. They gotta print to pay this off, man. Right? They gotta print, and then you have the midterm elections in November, right? So you look at all of this that's coming up. FOMC, non-farm payrolls, quarter 2 earnings, right? All these things that are coming out June, July. If they make a whole bunch of deals with the rest of the world for these pause on the tariffs, if there's some certainty in the markets, and then there's lots of catalysts coming right now where the market should pump, right? So it's interesting. For me, I was just messing about, getting a little nerdy here with fib time, because that's how I roll. Sometimes so I found something here. So our previous peak, right? So we got our peak to low, our first low, and then we got our 1, 2, 3, 5, which is our fib time, right? And we look at this, what happened here, right? So we had the peak, the downtrend, right? That's your fib time, and then you have your run up, right? So if we're looking at this, we are right here, right now. We go over to our cycle right now, right? So you go, we go, lock your fib. I can hear Piper. Peak to low, first low, right? We're at 3 right now, right? So if I copy and paste that right here, right? What do we have? A little dip down. But what do we have next, right? And this looks pretty good because it's a breakout retest, right? It's a breakout retest continuation trade. This looks pretty sexy, right? I mean, the problem is if we do this, if we start going this way, we are coming to like here, easy. If we go bear market. So if we do this, and this works out to August, right? This works out to July, August, and right? July, August, that last hurrah, right? We get a little altcoin season in here. You better sell, everybody. And I like messing with things like this. Sometimes, if they don't always perfectly repeat, but they tend to rhyme, right? Now, I do think we are pushed forward. So if I take this and I push it forward 2 months, I do believe we are pushed forward 2 months. So if I go from January, what is this? January 19th, right? So we'll go March 19th here, and we can push this forward. And we bring this over here, and it would look something more like that, where we're pushing more into something like this. And who knows, OC is probably right that we could possibly get, retracement, then continuation.
Well, I'm not thinking that much of retracement. I would say just the first area, but more of a ranging zone.
I would
Higher,
look for
say.
90 to hold, right? Like if we're looking at volume, we would look for this to hold. Otherwise, it's pretty bearish, right?
Yep.
We would look for this range in here to hold, right?
Yes.
Generally. Little sweep, little go, who knows, right? It's always fun, right? You look back, you try to do as best analysis as you can. it's hard. It's not an easy task, but we try to we look at chart prime oscillator. What's interesting here? So we got basically something like this, in my opinion, going on right now. So this had a retracement. If we're looking at the oscillator, right? Very similar. This had a retracement and a continuation. Retracement, continuation. So it's not as heavily overextended as this was, or as this was. Okay, we're just starting to get there, right? So I mean, time is the hardest thing, right? Time is always going to be the hardest thing to predict. But I think right now, with the amount of adoption and the amount of what's going on, like I said, short-term time frame, wherever B ends up and wherever C ends up, I think this is going to be where you make. Do I have a big money bag? I don't have a big money bag. We'll just put boobies there so you guys are excited. Okay? That's where you're going to make all the money. Okay? That's what I'm preparing for. Besides that, we'll, as traders, we'll trade within the range, we'll scalp, we'll trade, we'll swing trade, we'll catch the move like we did today, big money, right? Using our tools, our order blocks, or absolute fire tools, right? But if we look at this on like a 15, we're just at predictive ranges, like I've shown you guys 100 times, right? You go, your predictive ranges are at premium right now. We bought the equilibrium this morning. Our discount's down below. Here's our predefined range. We are at the highs. We are hitting an order block golden pocket, retracement zone, retest of previous lows. This is big resistance. We need to flip this in order to continue up and hold. Okay, we have lots of liquidity below us. So if we do get rejected down here, we should look to come and grab these lows, right? So the short is more favorable right now with confirmation. With confirmation. We want confirmation always. If we continue to push here, we're not getting in the way of the train. We're getting long, right? But if we sweep and we break structure, we should get short and take it down to 103 again. Very simple. If this, then that, treat it like a range until it's not, right? I think that's that you need to, as a trader, you need to understand identifying a range. Very simple. Where was our range low? Point of control, right? Money flow, point of control, range low, right? If we deviate anywhere below the range, we're looking for longs. We held, put in some higher lows. We look for continuation trades back up to the high of the range, right? We have a little bit of stopping power in front of us here, right? Of a retracement if we're going to correct. If we don't correct, this is still a string of higher lows, right? As long as these lows hold in here, we're still bullish. We are getting a head and shoulders, but guess what? It's pointed the wrong way. If it's pointed this way, I would be more inclined. If this low came lower here and it took out this low, that's when I'm ready to short. I'm backing up the damn truck to short this thing all the way down to here, minimum. But we haven't lost this low. We haven't lost this low. So as long as we hold this low for now, we're still in good shape. If we lose this low, then we take that baby all day long. Okay? But we are holding structure. We'll see if we can continue. Because if we start to come down here, everybody's going to be drawing on Twitter. There's going to be head and shoulder patterns everywhere. They're all going to be like, hey, man, we're going to get out, the short bus. I guess OC doesn't. Do you have the short bus? So like all the special kids took the short bus to school?
The short bus? What is the short bus? It's just like
it's like a joke. So like if you're a little bit slow,
not really following.
it's a very American kind of thing. Type in short bus in the gifts. You'll understand what I mean. It's for the window lickers. Okay.
Got
Maybe
it,
one
got
way is
it.
explaining to you. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But if we get here, I will not take it here. I will take it on the mitigation of this low. Okay. Alex, so where are you buy and sold? What do you mean buy and sold? I'm currently long from here this morning. You can come over and trade with me if you want. I trade every morning. Then go watch OC Guy kill it in the charts. I'm long from here. I'm 90% out now. Okay. 3.2K realized. Okay. Happy days. I'm gonna go on vacation now. No, you always want more. You get more. You make more. You want more. Always. It's always a problem. So for now, into resistance. I'm looking for a failure here. So market structure shift. Then I'm looking for the higher or the lower high. That's what I'm looking for right now. If we don't get this and we come back and retest in here, I'll look for a long. But I'll be looking for the short now. This is very overextended. We do have some key levels up above us as well at 109. I don't know if we get to 109 today. That'd be a little bit, yeah. Got to flip this into support and go. If not, we look for the rejection, trade it back down to the lows. If this, then that. And that's how I'll treat it.
Let me show you something. So somebody says, I don't think Mexico posting its children on purpose like the US does in terms of, well, we don't because read the comments, man. Jesus, bro. All right. Oh, this is my screen share. Shot, sorry. Let me share this. All right, I take a short on, is this the right chart? Yeah, on XRP, by the way. So I take a short. Hopefully this is going to be a quick short. We were looking at dynamic reactor setup here. We have two areas of possible retracement. If we can nail it with that flip of the ribbon, the flip of the ribbon is not quite there yet, but we're in flipping zones. It's still dangerous because with whatever is left, we can do a little bit of a goose head, which means this, right? So I'm trying to protect myself with those two areas. And I'm aiming to the previous lows in here. So this is still 1-to-1 or 3.9. So 1-to-1 or 1.3 base real ratio. So that made me take an entry of half of a position, just so you guys know. That's just to finish up with the class, guys. It's time to go. I think Alex also needs to be somewhere else to teach. He's always teaching around. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully, you guys having an amazing day. Alex, it's always great to have you around, my friend. It's always amazing how you take those morning trades. Thank you so much. And guys, see you guys tomorrow.
Have a great day, everybody. Later.